They carved it in stone, then buried it under blood. He who masters pain becomes ungovernable. You were never meant to hear this, but the code remembers you. You were born into noise, but before the noise there was silence. Before the chaos there was the code. Stoicism, not as a lifestyle, but as a weapon. This is not the Stoicism they sell in soft covers, not the filtered quotes on Instagram, not the Calm app version. This is what emperors bled for. This is what tyrants burned. When Nero torched Rome, he didn't just erase his enemies. He erased memory, scrolls, manuscripts, truths etched by the mentally unbreakable. What's forgotten is not gone. It waits, in shadow, for minds like yours. Let's begin where they tried to end it. Epictetus was a slave. His legs were broken, but his will was not. They beat his body, but they could never own his mind. He whispered secrets, not to peasants, but to future emperors. He trained warriors in silence, not how to fight, how to become untouchable. What he taught could fracture thrones, because once a man becomes immune to fear, he becomes sovereign. The emperors knew this. Marcus Aurelius wasn't born strong. He was forged. He faced betrayal, plague, war, death of his children, and never broke. Why? Because he built the inner citadel, not a castle, a mental stronghold, a fortress within himself that no chaos could breach. He called it rule over the ruling faculty. In today's world, they call that madness. Back then, they called it divine reason. But here's what they won't tell you. The same psychological codes he used to command himself, governments use now to command you. Marcus built the citadel to resist manipulation. Modern systems replicate it to install obedience. Your feed isn't free. It's engineered friction, addiction, cognitive sabotage disguised as freedom. What was once weaponized to free the soul is now weaponized to capture it. You scroll past truth every day, not because you're weak, but because the machine knows your reflexes better than you do. The Stoics warned of this. They didn't speak of the algorithm, but they understood it. They called it the corruption of judgment. False impressions, mental fog. They trained to cut through it, like a sword through mist. Their first lesson: you own nothing except your reaction. Every other possession, title, wealth, status, can be taken, but your perception, that is yours alone. And they trained it like warriors train hands. You've been told to chase your dreams, but dreams without control are hallucinations. They taught the opposite. Hold fast to what you can control. Release everything else. Like smoke from the hand. That wasn't passivity. That was psychological armor. Seneca lost everything, twice. Wealth, power, then his own life. And yet, he smiled when the blade came. Why? Because death could not shake what he already surrendered. That is the true Stoic. Not numb, not soft, but forged through fire. Let me tell you why they fear this today. A man who does not panic cannot be manipulated. A man who does not crave approval cannot be seduced by lies. A man who does not fear loss cannot be ruled. The modern world depends on your instability. Anxious minds click faster. Weakened souls buy more. Emotionally reactive men obey. This is why Stoicism was not taught in schools. It was hidden in marble, stored in tombs, preserved in ashes. Because the man who controls his inner world doesn't need theirs. Look around you. They sell calm, but never teach it. They sell resilience, but never build it. They want your attention, not your awakening. But the Stoics, they offer nothing. No comfort, no likes, only truth. And truth is brutal. It tells you, you are not owed peace. You must earn it, daily, deliberately, defiantly. They trained every day, not just in thought, in action. Discomfort was rehearsal. Loss was a teacher. Pain was initiation. You avoid pain. They embraced it. You fear silence. They found their God in it. The code is simple, but not easy. Endure and renounce. That was Epictetus's command. Endure what you cannot change. Renounce what you never truly owned. Can you do that? Not just in speech, but in practice? Can you starve your impulse and feed your focus? Can you walk through the inferno and not beg for escape? Because that is the only way to become unbreakable. This path is not for everyone. It's not aesthetic. It's not marketable. It's not safe. But if you've listened this far, something in you already knows. You weren't made for obedience. You weren't born to scroll. You weren't designed for sedation. You were built to become sovereign. And now it's time to decide. Will you remain a product or become a presence? Will you collapse or construct your citadel? There is no middle ground. This world is collapsing, but your mind doesn't have to. Not if it's forged in fire. Not if you command your perception. Not if you train daily for the storm. Instead of praying it passes. You are not broken. You are unshaped. Now forge, like Marcus did, like Seneca did, like the men buried under Rome did. This is your inheritance, not through blood, but through discipline. They passed the torch in silence. Now it's your turn to carry it into a world that fears fire, into a world that rewards obedience. But you were not made to obey. You were made to endure, to see through illusion, to master chaos, and to never kneel again. So let the world scream. Let the system shout. You will walk through the storm, silent, still, sovereign. You are now inside the inner citadel. Guard it, sharpen it, never leave it, and never, ever forget. The scrolls weren't destroyed. They were sealed inside you, and you just unlocked them. They trained us to obey by stealing their code. What once freed emperors now cages men. But the code was never theirs to keep. It returns to those who remember. You were born into a war you couldn't see, a war for your perception, your reactions, your mental software, and the most dangerous enemy? The one that uses your own philosophy against you. What the Stoics built, modern systems hijacked. They turned self-mastery into submission, calm into sedation, discipline into passivity. They took the tools of the strong and weaponized them to make you forget what strength looks like. Let me show you how. The Stoics never said ignore pain. They said own it. But now they tell you be positive. Don't get angry. Breathe it out. That's not Stoicism. That's sedation. The original Stoics raged inwardly. They used it to fuel endurance, not denial. They burned cold. They didn't smile through chaos. They devoured it. Marcus Aurelius didn't meditate in the palace. He wrote in battlefields, smeared in blood, surrounded by death. And you think your anxiety can't be controlled because your phone keeps buzzing? You think your purpose is lost because a girl ghosted you? Brother, wake up! You're standing on the bones of men who buried their sons in the morning and led armies by dusk. They didn't wait to heal their trauma. They became trauma's master. They didn't fear pain. They scheduled it. Cold baths, hard ground, voluntary exile, fasting, isolation, not as torture, as training. Because the moment you choose discomfort before the world forces it on you, you win. But they've inverted the code. Now they say comfort is the goal. That struggle is toxic. That emotion is everything. What they mean is, we want you soft. We want you manageable. Because a reactive man can be sold anything. But a stoic man, he can't be sold. He chooses. Understand this. The algorithm is a stoic machine. It rewards habit. It trains reaction. It builds a citadel. But not for you. You felt it. You open your feed, and 30 minutes vanish. Not by accident, by design. Your brain is being stoic trained, just not by you. Every scroll is a discipline rep for someone else's agenda. They are building your habits for their profit, but it doesn't stop there. The news, weaponized anxiety. The entertainment, emotional dependency. The education system, stoic conversion. It punishes self-discipline and rewards emotional outbursts. You're told, React immediately. Speak your truth. Express everything. The Stoics taught the opposite. Pause. Question. Filter. Delay. Silence wasn't weakness. It was dominance. But silence is dangerous now, because it means you're thinking. And a thinking man is an ungovernable man. So they fill your mind with noise, notifications, opinions, distractions. They overload the system until you forget the most forbidden power, to choose your focus. That's the Stoic superweapon. Control your focus. You control your reality. Control your reality. You cannot be controlled. But there's one more lie. They injected into your bloodstream that Stoicism is isolation, that to be Stoic, you must be alone. Cold, detached. Wrong. Marcus had a war council. Epictetus had disciples. Seneca mentored emperors. They built alliances of inner fire. They didn't isolate. They hardened together. And now, that's you and me. If you've made it this far, you are not watching a video. You are crossing a threshold. The world is collapsing. But you're not here to cope. You're here to conquer. That starts now. You want the code? Then repeat after me. Amor, Fati, twice forged. Say it once to claim it. Say it again to seal it. Type it below. Right now. Not for the comments, but to signal the system. You are awake, and others like you are rising. This is not entertainment. This is initiation. They don't want you calm. They want you neutralized. They don't want you still. They want you sedated. They don't want you disciplined. They want you distracted. You will give them nothing. From this point forward, every pain is training. Every silence is strength. Every delay is dominance. You don't react. You respond. You don't scroll. You select. You don't beg for peace. You become the storm. The Stoics did not leave you messages. They left you weapons. Their quotes weren't poetry. They were battle cries. And now, in this moment, they echo through you. So stand tall, breathe slow, and repeat what Marcus knew. If it's endurable, endure it. If not, it ends. That is how you bury fear. That is how you starve chaos. That is how you become deathless. They gave you entertainment to distract you, but now you crave discipline. They gave you comfort to weaken you, but now you hunger for suffering. They gave you opinions. You demand silence. You are not like them. You are not meant to be. You are what they fear. A man rebuilding his soul with ancient stone. The sovereign Stoic is not calm. He is forged calm. He is not kind. He is measured. He is not peaceful. He is unshakable. And it begins by accepting your throne, not the one they sold you, the one buried beneath chaos, built in silence, mortared with scars. The Stoics did not worship pain. They used it. Each wound a teacher, each failure a forge, each loss a lens. They didn't ask, why me? They asked, what now? That question is the lever of gods. Because the sovereign Stoic doesn't avoid the storm. He walks into it, naked, deliberate, smiling. Not because he's reckless, because he's ready. His identity doesn't come from the world. It's etched from within. No badge, no followers, no applause. Only action, only stillness, only truth. Understand this. The sovereign Stoic has no mood. He has mission, no vibe, only virtue. He doesn't negotiate with his feelings. He uses them as fuel. Anger becomes discipline. Fear becomes clarity. Sadness becomes depth. He's not ruled by comfort. He controls it. He doesn't need validation because he validates himself through action, not words. Now listen carefully. They will call you cold. They will call you arrogant. They will call you disconnected. Good. That means you're becoming untouchable. They called Cato inhuman because he couldn't be bribed, because he wouldn't bend, because he made emperors tremble by standing still. That's what power feels like. A quiet flame, a mind uninvited, a soul untouched. The world screams for your attention. Your response? Stillness. Not because you're ignoring it, but because you've transcended it. There's a phrase Marcus Aurelius left behind, buried in his journal, never meant for the world. He wrote, "Be like the rock that the waves keep crashing over. It stands unmoved, and the raging of the sea falls still around it." That's not a metaphor, that's a mechanism. The sovereign Stoic doesn't escape life. He absorbs it, transmutes it, commands it. He walks through betrayal and remains loyal. He endures rejection and remains worthy. He faces chaos and remains composed. And this is the part they'll never teach you. Your emotions are not the enemy. Your addiction to them is. The Stoic doesn't suppress. He channels. He feels every emotion, but acts from principle. He wants love but doesn't chase it. He feels rage but doesn't obey it. He feels sorrow but still leads, because nothing inside him is stronger than the code. That code is not written in books. It's carved in battle, etched in decisions, proofed in fire. And now, you carry that fire. Every hardship you faced was training, not punishment. Every betrayal was sandpaper, not sabotage. Every failure was sharpening, not shame. If you lost her, you were meant to find you. If you were broken, you were meant to build differently. If you were overlooked, it was time to look within. They lied to you. They told you Stoicism was ancient, dead, philosophy for dusty minds. But that's because they know. If men actually lived it, the system collapses. You become unpredictable, uncontrollable, unshakable. They can't guilt you. They can't shame you. They can't sell to you. Because you now know you don't need anything. Not approval, not comfort, not attention. Only virtue, only alignment, only action. And now you face the final test. Will you lead yourself? No applause, no guidance, no reward. Just the silent echo of your conscience. That's what Marcus did. He ruled an empire, but answered only to his code. That's what Epictetus did. Born a slave, but ruled his mind as if it were Olympus. That's what you now do. You rule this before you try to rule anything else. They may outnumber you, but you are outlasting them. They may laugh at you, but you are outworking them. They may mock your stillness, but they'll crumble in your storm. You are not a monk. You are not a philosopher. You are a quiet weapon with ancient software and modern targets. That means you will love deeply without being owned. You will endure pain without becoming bitter. You will take losses without losing self-respect. You will bend, but not break. You will break, but still rise. You will stand alone, but never shrink. Because the sovereign Stoic doesn't need the world. He leads it. You are no longer in hiding. You are no longer asking. You are no longer hoping. You are doing. You are forging. You are rising. And if they ever ask you, what made you different? You will answer with a whisper, I remembered the code. That's it. That's all. And now you walk with no audience, no permission, no hesitation. You walk through fire like it's memory. You walk through fear like it's fog. You walk through this world, not to fit in, but to change its shape